All right, so I've had a couple of questions about your Algebra B work, and this is assignment number 2. So I'm just going to do a quick run through of what we're seeing here so that it might help you guys answer some questions that you might have. So essentially what we're talking about is the idea of what is an equation. So an equation, we notice that in the word equation, you see that EQU right there. So that tells us that this is an equality of two expressions. If you don't see an equal sign, EQUAL, right, EQU is in there, then it is not an equation, it is an expression. So if it has an equal sign, it's an equation. No equal sign, it's an expression. So this gives us a couple of examples here. So it says which of the following is not an equation. So we've got an equation right here. We see the equal sign. But on the other hand, we've got an expression right here. There's no equal sign. Okay? So now, if we come down here, it says consider the equation 2x minus 8 equals 10 minus x. So what I'm going to do, be patient with me here because I've never done this before. So, oops, 2x minus x. Okay, so I've set up a little Jamboard right here, and this lets me kind of write as if I had a whiteboard. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation just like I would any other equation. I'm going to move this over. Okay. So we end up getting 3x minus 8 equals 10. Okay, so I end up getting my solution right here, x equals 6. Okay, so I've solved that. But then I look back at what it's asking me, and it says, why can't you determine whether this equation is true or false? And just looking at it, you don't have a value for x, so you can't determine whether that's true or false. And then it says, if x equals 5, will the equation be true? Well, we just figured out that x equals 6 makes the equation true. And that's kind of what I just did for C. So this shows that x equals 6 makes the equation true. Now, on the other hand, if I go ahead and erase all of this, go ahead and get my equation back. Just triple checking that's actually what the equation is. Okay, so if I go ahead and I get my equation back and it's saying, well, what if x equals 5? Will that make the equation true? Well, let's try it out. So I put 5 in anywhere I see x. Okay. And then I go ahead and solve. I already see a problem here because 10 minus 8 cannot possibly equal 10 minus 5. So I have 2 equals 5. No. That's not true, okay? So x equals 5 does not make the equation true. We know that x equals 6 does. Okay? All right. Erase my Jamboard here. I'm going to look back at my assignment. Okay, and then it just has a couple of more examples. It talks about the idea of a solution to an equation. What makes the equation true? So anytime you get that x equals, that's going to be your solution to the equation. So then down at exercise 3, we have a couple of examples where they're asking you to plug in that value for x and see if the equation is true. Okay, and that's something that you guys are fully capable of doing at this point. All right. So let's look down at some of these practices. So it says decide if each of the following are equations or expressions. You do not need to solve or evaluate the expressions. So, solve the equations or evaluate the expressions. So we have this first one here. We have to decide whether it's an equation or an expression. Well, I don't see an equal sign, so it can't possibly be an equation. Right here we have an expression. We couldn't solve this, all right? There's no way to solve for x here. We don't know what x equals because there's no equal sign, all right? On the other hand, we look at b, and that right there is an equation. It has that equal sign. We could solve for x. Okay, that's a good way to look at it. So now let's look down at number 2. It says determine whether each of the following values for the given variable is a solution to the given equation. And so all we have to do here is plug in our value for x. So I have our first example, x minus 4 equals 12, and it's asking us to plug in x equals 8. Okay, so let's take a look at our Jamboard. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug in 8 for x. Okay, and I'm going to solve this. 8 minus 4, well, that's 4. Does that equal 12? No. Okay, so I can go back here and I could say, oops, second. So I could say 8 minus 4 equals 12. No, that's not the case, okay? So this is not a solution. All right, here's where we start to apply this information. And it seems a little bit more complicated, but when we actually break it down, it's all the stuff that you guys already know how to do. Okay, so, all right. So let's take a look at this. A disease has 3 treatments depending on the percent of the body affected by the disease. Doctors have the treatment down to 3 stages as followed. Stage 1 is less than 15%, stage 2 is 15 to 25, and stage 3 is 25 to 50. For anything more than 50%, there's no cure. If the disease is spreading according to the formula P equals 6D plus 5, where P equals the percent of the body affected and D is the number of days, fill out the following chart to explain to a patient what you observed. So this is where we're going to have to take a look at what we know, okay? So we know that the formula for this is P equals 6D plus 5. We know that P equals percent of the body affected, and D equals number of days. Okay. All right. So then it's asking us, and I'll get you out of my Jamboard in a second. So then it's asking us to fill in what percent of the body is being affected on days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Okay, so let's look at the Jamboard. So it says P equals 6D plus 5. And what we are trying to figure out is P, the percent of the body. Okay, we're trying to figure this out. I'm going to regret doing that, aren't I? Okay, but what we know is D, the number of days. Okay, so let's take a look at this. All right. So we're trying to find P. That's our variable. So let's look for the percent of the body affected on the first day. Okay, D in this case would equal 1. So the percent of the body affected on the first day can be represented by this formula. So let's just solve it. P equals 6 plus 5. P equals 11. So on the first day, when D equals 1, P equals 11. So then I would come back to my chart, and it's asking me what percent of the body is affected. 11% of the body is affected on the first day. Okay, now let's look and see if we can figure this out for future days. So essentially we are looking for what is P when D equals 2, our second day. So P equals 6 times 2 plus 5. So on the second day, 17% of the body is affected. Okay, and you just keep doing this and replace, we have 2 here, you'd replace that with 3, 4, 5 as you go on, okay? Go ahead and solve. And that's how you go in and fill out your chart. Okay, you just fill this in. 11, 17, and so on and so forth. All right, let's look at number 4. So Bobby wants to go on a school trip that will cost him $250. He comes up with an equation that represents how much he needs to save each week as follows. Okay, so this is his equation. 25W plus 30 equals 250. All right, and W is the number of weeks that he has been saving. All right, so if he has 9 weeks to save, will he have enough money to go on the trip? Okay, this trip costs him $250. Essentially, we're trying to figure out if W weeks equals 9, then will this be true? Will he have $250? So let's take a look at it. Okay, so in this case, we're saying W equals 9. Let's plug it in. 25 times 9 plus 30 equals 250. Okay, I don't know 25 times 9 off the top of my head, so I'm pulling out my calculator. 25 times 9. Okay, 225 plus 30 equals 250. Okay. 255 equals 250. Now, in this case, the equation is technically not true, but let's look at what's being asked of us. It says, if he has 9 weeks to save, will he have enough money to go on the trip? So if you're trying to buy something that's $250 and you have $255, do you have enough money to go on this trip? Yeah, you've got $5 extra. You can buy yourself a churro. I don't know. So he's going to be able to go on this trip. Yes, he has enough money, and your explanation would just be that when W equals 9, then he would have $255 saved up. Okay, I'm erasing my Jamboard over here. Takes a little more effort than a whiteboard, smartboard. All right. So it says he also wants to have $100 spending cash on the trip. He decides to save an extra $10 a week. To do this, he changes his original equation as follows. So now he's got a new equation. Now we've got 25W plus 30 plus 10W equals 250 plus 100. Okay, so now it's saying, still, W is the number of weeks spent saving. Will 9 weeks be enough time now? Well, originally, if he kept his original equation, no, it wouldn't have been. He only would have had $5 spending cash. He could have gotten a churro, but he's not getting a t-shirt. All right, so now he wants to have $100, so he's adding in that extra $10 a week. So let's take a look at this. Sorry how sloppy it is. So W is still 9 in this case. So anytime we see a W, we're replacing it with 9. I think he's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to be able to get it. So let's take a look. So 25 times 9, what did we say that was? 225 plus 30 plus 90. Oh no, he is good. It's 250 plus 100. And then we solve on both sides. 225 plus 30 plus 90, just putting that in my calculator. 345, no, that was right, so close. 345, does that equal 350? Okay, so in this case, does he have enough money? He has $345, and he wants $350. Okay, so is the equation true? Does he have enough money? Will it be enough time? No, it won't be enough time. He only has $345. Still a good chunk of change. He still can get a churro and a t-shirt. He's still fine. But in this case, does he have enough money? No, he doesn't. He does not have that extra $100 that he wanted. Okay. All right. So if you have any more questions, please, please, please let me know. Just as a reminder, I am available on Google Meet on Mondays. What did I say? Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays for group sessions. I have one that is going to be 9th and 10th, one that is 11th and 12th. I have been there and been so lonely when people don't show up, but that's okay. I am also available if you guys just want to set up something one-on-one, you're having trouble with a specific assignment, you just need someone to read to you, or just someone to say hi. Let me know, okay? I'm here, and we're all gonna pull through this and be able to be successful here, okay? So, if you have any more questions, let me know. If not, I'll talk to you later.